Well, hi there, food friends, and welcome to Cavalcade of Food. I'm Kevin, and thank you for being with me today. And today we have a look at a vintage appliance, a 1953 Westinghouse Rancho. This is a new addition to the family. And you know, whenever a new one arrives, it's a special day. So we're going to come into the range room here and take a look. This is just a range that I picked up here last week, and I want to thank Ralph for helping me get it into the van, and I want to thank my sister Mary Ann for helping me get it into the studio here. And I want to show you what I've got. There it is. Let's take a look at it front on. This is a 1953 Rancho. I believe the first year for these were 1950 or 51, and I think they made these up until about 1954, 1955. And I'd been looking for one for such a long time, and I finally found one locally here, and this one is a 53 from everything I can determine. And I just always thought it was sort of an interesting range in that it almost looks, come back a little bit, it almost looks like a desk, doesn't it? You know, and as a matter of fact, in that space there, they sold a small stool and also a cart that actually rolled under and could be tucked away in that space. Boy, I'd love to find one. But that, talk about a needle in a haystack, that's going to be hard. But you never know. Always keep my eyes open. But I always thought this was just an interesting design, and it was a fairly inexpensive model. Just by comparison, next to it is a Westinghouse 24-inch, what I call an apartment or an efficiency range. And if we take a look at the Rancho, you can kind of see how they are very similar in design in terms of the actual oven part. So we're going to come in and take a closer look, but it certainly has the same frame and stamping as the 24-inch stove, and they added on to it. And so yes, this was certainly a less expensive model than, you know, the full-size Westinghouse range. And you can see it's got the Westinghouse badge on it. That's the oven vent there to the left. But nothing else. There's no clock, there's no light, there's nothing on the surface. I believe there was a clock light accessory you could get that would fasten to the top of this range. I've seen those before, but it also features front burner and oven controls, sort of like this one does. The apartment size stove has the controls in the front. I'm thinking for some reason, perhaps at one time, a later model, the controls moved from the front up to the top over here rather than being in the front. But these are in the front. So let's come in and we'll take a closer look at this 1953 Westinghouse Rancho Range, the newest addition to the family. So we'll start at the top here, You can see, unlike the apartment-sized stove, and this is actually 21 inches. I know I said it was 24, but it's 21 inches wide. But you can see they gave you 3 burners, 2 6-inch and an 8-inch burner. And over here on the Rancho, you got 4 burners, which was more traditional, 3 6 and 1 8-inch burner. And these are, I don't know if the camera can pick it up, these are the Corax Westinghouse burners. These are all 4 of these are the original burners. So, you know, the appliance manufacturers all had different sort of trademark names for their electric burners. Westinghouse was the Corax. General Electric, of course, was the Calrod. Frigidaire was the Radiant tube, as an example. But here's the top. This is 38 inches long. So most stoves at the time were 40. So this is a tad narrower than the conventional stoves were during this period. So we've got 38 from side to side. Depth is the same, is standard, but the width is just a little different. So here is our controls in the front, starting with the burners. It doesn't tell you which knob is for which burner, so you kind of have to know. These two are for the burners on the left. These 2 are for the burners on the right. I believe this is the front one, this is the rear one. Then over here, you have a electric outlet, which of course was always very handy. It is in a weird location, however. There's also above the outlet, perhaps you can see there's a red indicator light. That's your oven indicator light. And your oven control is all the way over here on the right. And having the outlet there is sort of precarious, because if you are using an appliance up here, say a mixer, coffee pot, waffle iron, something like that, the cord is either going to drape in front of the oven door or across the burners. So not ideal, but maybe you have a counter or something next to the stove, and so you've got an extra outlet to plug something in. It's still nice to have, although I think it would have been better if that outlet could have been put on the back panel or on the right, you know, somewhere on the right side of the oven. But let's take a look at this oven. So fairly small oven, but not much smaller than a dual oven range, a full-size range would have been at the time. Here is the information, model number, serial number, Westinghouse Electric Corporation. You can see it has a concealed burner, open coil, so it's covered. It has, one thing about these Westinghouse stoves is just look at all the possible rack positions you can have in this stove. This oven does not have a light bulb, by the way. Again, this was a very kind of almost a no-frills model. You did not get a lot of extras with this, including an oven light. Not that it's plugged in anyways, but just so that you know. So there is the oven. This was in a garage when I got it. I have not yet fully tested it, and it was not, there was no way to plug it in when I got it. Then over here, you have a storage drawer or a warming drawer, depending on how you want to use it. You could certainly put pots and pans in there, baking dishes and things like that. It has, this I don't believe came with it. This is a little extra Protex all-purpose pad. So this is probably something has asbestos in it. But anyways, there's your warming drawer, side drawer. Again, you could, if the oven was on, it would certainly get warm in there. You could proof bread in there, or again, you could just use it for storage. So there it is. Kind of a unique and cool little range. I was pleased to find one and add it to the collection. You know, throughout the year, I always generally pick up at least a couple ranges, if not more, and add them. And I generally don't make any videos about them, and you might not see them until they get put into the kitchen studio. But so many people have emailed me about the stoves, the ranges, and my collection, and how they want to see more. So I thought, okay, well, when I get a new one in, we'll do a little video so I can share it with all of you. So, again, I'll be passing out cigars. We got a new member of the family, and you know, like all the children here, you know, you can't have a favorite, or it's hard to, because each one is unique in their own way, and there's something special about every one of these ranges. But I am just glad to have been fortunate enough to find this Westinghouse Rancho Range to add here to the Cavalcade Range Room. So thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. The website is cavalcadeoffood.com. Hope everybody is well, having a wonderful autumn season. And I'll see you again real soon back here on Cavalcade of Food. Bye.